So SDS just did their next feature premiere leading to the launch of MLB The Show 22. This one is all about gameplay updates to hitting, pitching, and fielding. I'll leave the feature premiere linked in the description if you guys want to check it out for yourself, but I'm going to break it down and basically just give you the rundown of everything you need to know. I'm going to start off with fielding just because that's the quickest one. The biggest thing they've done to fielding this year, we saw it in the tech test a little bit, you can now get perfect throws to any base. This is something that we've wanted to see ever since they implemented the perfect relays. We've been asking why we can't get perfect throws to other places on the field. Now we can officially get perfect throws anywhere. They also said that they've added a ton of new animations to fielders, both in the infield and the outfield, to help with urgency, as well as specific plays like olays and bloopers and stuff like that. If you want to watch the feature premiere and listen to everything they had to say, feel free, but that's basically the gist of it. That's what I got from it. Not a ton in there, but the perfect throws are definitely a huge W. Now let's go ahead and get into pitching. What are the updates happening with pitching in MLB The Show 22? Well, first off, let's talk about the perfect accuracy region. The perfect accuracy region, or PAR, is basically that grayed out area outside of the ball that basically shows you where that ball can go with a perfect pitch release. I'm going to play the clip where they explain a little bit about it and how it works and what's changed.
One of the things we noticed was PAR is not dynamic. So you weren't noticing the change from moving a changeup up in the zone, down in the zone, in, out, etc. And one way to set our expectations to you all is to make that dynamic. So understanding real life pitch expectations and whatnot. So for example, a changeup is most effective when you're throwing that pitch down in the zone, trying to get a hitter to chase. It's not so effective when you're throwing that changeup up in the zone. And so one of the things that we did, and you can see highlighted in the video being shown, is that as that pitch moves up in the zone, you're going to notice an increase in the perfect region, effectively showing that on a perfect pitch with an off speed, for example, a changeup, that size is going to be drastically increased. Proper pitching technique would, kind of infer that you want to keep that pitch down in the zone. So if you knew nothing about what a slider does, what a knuckle curve does, what a changeup does, you'll have that expectations as a new player to our game or a returning player to the game. You'll know exactly what to expect on that slider up in the zone, on that slider down in the zone. So one of the things highlighted by this dynamic PAR is an decrease in accuracy, so grows significantly as you move up. Second, as you move that slider or that pitch that's going to move horizontally in the zone, you're going to notice less movement and less break. So that pitch is not going to be as effective.
So in theory, that should help make some of those more cheesy pitches less effective. High curveballs, high sliders, high changeups, stuff like that. However, you still will be able to throw those pitches. I don't want people to get confused thinking that all of those things are now unusable. You can still throw high sinkers, high sliders, stuff like that. It's just that the perfect accuracy region gets a lot wider, meaning that you might not hit the spot exactly where you want it like you could in 21. But you still can throw it and you still can get those lucky dots high in the zone. It did also make some tweaks to pinpoint pitching as well as outlier. I'll let those clips play now.
We've taken a look at our outlier perk and made a few adjustments there. You're going to notice a higher accuracy penalty on that outlier, as well as a small decrease in miles per hour, and that's just based on all of the feedback that we're getting from all of you out there. And keep it up. We love it. We love to see it. And yeah, we think that those adjustments to the outlier perk will just make for a little bit better cat and mouse dynamic at the plate between pitcher batter. Off-speed gesture accuracy is easier to get good, and fastballs a little bit harder. And like always, we always reevaluate our different pitch types like sinker, circle changes to make sure that they are effective and there's no meta going on in our community.
So far, everything they've talked about with pitching, I think has been a solid addition. I think it will help the pitching meta. I think it's going to make pinpoint a little bit more difficult than it was this year, but I did feel like it was really, really easy once you got the hang of it, which is part of the reason why I feel like this year was so tough, because every single at-bat, you could get dotted on the corners with any pitch from any pitcher, and it just made hitting that much more difficult all the time. Now, there is one major thing about pitching that they didn't discuss that I'm a little bit upset that they didn't talk about, and that was pitcher stamina. Maybe they'll discuss it in the Diamond Dynasty feature premiere, but they didn't touch on the fact that stamina was a big issue last year. For starting pitchers, pitch count basically didn't matter. You could go into the 9th inning. You could, if it went to extras, you could keep using your starting pitcher. He'd have no energy and he could still dot with how easy pinpoint pitching was. Now, maybe they're hoping that the new additions they've made to pinpoint pitching will help counter some of those issues with stamina, but I still feel like stamina needs a tweak, so we'll see what happens. All right, now let's get into everybody's favorite topic in MLB The Show, hitting. What changes have they made to hitting in MLB The Show 22? Let's start it off simple. First off, they talked about the PCI anchor. This is a feature that we saw in the tech test. I think this is a really nice feature. Basically, you can choose to start your PCI in one of the 9 areas of the zone, the 3 areas high, 3 areas in the middle, and 3 areas low. And I think this is a great addition because I usually start my PCI in when I'm hitting righty-righty because I like to try to take away the inside part of the plate. And now I can anchor my PCI there, so then I really only have to worry about the middle of the plate and the outside part of the plate when I adjust to the pitch when it's thrown. And I think this is going to be a really good tool for any MLB The Show player out there, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned veteran. This is going to be a feature that'll help you attack some weaknesses when you're hitting. So the PCI anchor, great addition. As they continue to talk about hitting, one of the things that sounded like it was a big priority for them was to try to eliminate more foul balls and try to eliminate those long extended at-bats all the time. And one thing they've done is they've actually made the PCI shrink when you go out of the zone. I'll let the clip play right here.
22 and going forward, that PCI now scales, which essentially shrinks the further it moves away from the zone. So as your PCI moves outside, you're going to notice a decrease in both the contact and vision portions of your hitting area. And so what we're trying to convey here to you guys is we want you to be able to cover all the sides of the plate, the corners, the edges, while also reflecting the ability or inability for a batter to be able to cover those spots. It's difficult to be able to hit that pitch outside of the plate, so we're representing that by showing a decreased size in zone. Same thing goes for inside and above and below the zone as well.
Obviously, I think this is another really good change. Your PCI should be smaller as you go further away from the strike zone. Whether it's high, low, inside, or outside, if you're swinging at pitches out of the zone and you're giving up your plate discipline, it should be harder to make good contact on those pitches. It shouldn't be impossible. People in real life hit pitches out of the zone all the time, but it shouldn't be as easy as hitting a pitch that's, in the strike zone in a hittable location. Now, they also spent a lot of time talking about swing timing and why you get better exit velocities on certain swings versus others. And they do talk about it a little bit more in depth right here. So I am going to let that clip play. But before I do, I just want to say, I personally don't think hitting is going to be very different in MLB The Show 22 from MLB 21. They really do try and explain why certain swing timings help with certain parts of the play, all that stuff, but nothing about the feature premiere here showed me that there was any major improvements to the hitting engine. It was almost like they were just explaining why it works the way it does. And whether you love or hate the hitting engine or you're anywhere in between, it sounds like there's not really going to be that many tweaks. They're just trying to do a better job of explaining why certain things work. Now, you can choose to feel however you want about that. I'm just providing you the information. I still think the hitting engine needs a pretty big revamp, but that's just my own personal opinion. But I am going to let that clip play where they're going to talk about all this stuff. That's actually what's going to be ending this video. But I do want to get your guys' opinions in the comments. After this part of the video plays, go down there. Let me know what you think. Do you think that this was a good feature premiere? Do you think they did a good job explaining things? Does this make you more or less excited about MLB The Show 22? Let me know your thoughts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a thumbs up on it if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We got MLB The Show content every single day over here, so make sure to stay tuned. Anyway, enjoy the clip. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
On a pitch down the middle, you need to be pretty much straight, even with the plate, with your bat when it's crossing over the plate, and as the pitch is away, you want to be a little bit later. And what I mean by that, and what we're going to demonstrate here, is you got to get the barrel of the bat out in front when you're hitting. Okay, so on a fastball end, you got to get it out in front. That is going to generate the most leverage that you can possibly get when you're swinging the bat, and so that's why you get more exit velocity on the pull side.
Right. So we're talking about just early timing on inside pitches.
Yeah, so obviously, if you're perfect on an inside pitch, your barrel of your bat's going to be out in front, okay? If you're perfect on a pitch away, the barrel of your bat is going to be pointing to the first base dugout if you're a right-handed hitter, to the third base dugout if you're a left-handed hitter, kind of. It's just going to be slanted back. So there's 3 different kind of layers to where you're hitting.
Right.
So essentially, go ahead and play the tape. What you're going to see here is Tatis hitting a couple balls. So on this one here, you can see that we're going to show you how he got the barrel out in front. His exit velocity on a pitch down the middle is going to be a lot higher than it is on the other side.
So it's 109.
He gets 109.
We're going to take a look at the exact same pitch location, but move the timing, right, Gil? So what are we looking at?
Yeah, so basically what we're looking at is a pitch right down the middle, and we're showing the early side for the 109, and then this is going to be on the late side of good. That shows, I think, 104, something like that. So you're just going to show that they're both good, right? You're going to have good, but you're going to have a little bit less exit velocity going the other way on a pitch down the middle.
So, Gil, we're looking at this swing graph. Can you explain what we're looking at?
Yeah, and we touched on this stuff, but I just want to do a close-up view of this so you just get a better idea. And what I just showed you in that last video was pitches down the middle. Here's a pitch on the inner part of the plate. And what we're doing with this graph, we're showing you where your bat needs to be in order to get a pitch that's on the inner part of the plate. You can see the angle of the bat. You can see that the bat head is out in front. And then on the right side, you can see the away pitch and your bat angle is back. And you can see that both of these hits were outside of good. So one was probably early and the other one is late, but it's just a good representation of showing you the bat angle when you want to pull the ball, when you want to hit the ball the other way. Again, when the pitch is away, you're going to gain more exit velocity being on the later side of perfect. And on a pitch's end, you're going to gain more exit velocity on a pitch on timing that's a little bit early or right on perfect, on the early side of perfect.
Yeah, really pay attention to how the green area is shifted. Look at the inside swing. There's so much more green area above the plate because that's an inside pitch.
Yeah.
Being just early on the inside pitch, it's not a bad thing, so you have more leeway there. When we're looking at the pitch away, you can see that green is further pulled back. Remember, swing analysis is two things. That swing info, that's one-to-one with the swing that you just did, and it's very important. So don't just look at the contact. You want to look at that swing info, and I'm glad we took the time to break this down, Gil.
Yeah, sure. And I want to show you one more video, so let's get that up there. So before we play this video, I just want to explain it real quick. You're going to see 4 different hits by Machado here. And what we're going to demonstrate is how important it is to stay behind an outside pitch. All the things I've already talked to you guys about and how I explained real life hitting and how it works almost parallel to our game and how you want to hit. We want to stay behind the outside pitch. And so I'm going to show you what happens if you do that. And I'm also going to show you what happens if you kind of roll over. So go ahead and play the video. So the first pitch here is going to be a foul ball. He's just laid on it. But what you're going to see here is an exit velocity of, let's see, it's coming up here. 98. Okay, so 98, and he's just late on a pitch on the outer half of the plate, right on the black. On this example here, you can see that I pulled it very early, so you're going to see a huge discrepancy in those miles per hour in the exit velocity, 69. And that's because he's rolling over on an outside pitch. He's got to stay behind the ball. In this example, I rolled over again, hit a ground ball to the shortstop. You're going to see a little increase in the exit velocity because I'm moving more to the right side. Stayed behind it just a little more. There you go, 89. Okay, and on this one, you can see I did it perfectly, and I'm going to generate the most exit velocity on that pitch type. Okay, based on where my PCI centered up on that ball, I hit a nice line drive into the gap, and I think I got 100 and something on this one. I can't remember exactly what it was, but you can see what I'm talking about. And if you go back to thinking about those graphs, you can see that the bat angle being back and waiting on the pitch is going to show you how you're going to be able to expose outside pitches and just crush them if you sit back and wait instead of trying to get out in front of them. So just early on an outside pitch is not a good thing. Just early on a pitch down the middle in, that's a good thing. You're going to generate a lot of exit velocity on that, just short of perfect. Okay, but as soon as you start getting past that center cut middle and start moving away, the earlier you are, the worse you're going to be. You want to be perfect to a little bit late. So just late's going to be just fine.
Just like it is in real life. And like Kyle mentioned, remember your batter's swing tendencies and hit types, they matter here. If he's an extreme pull hitter and you're pulling pitches on the inside, it's going to influence a little bit. So just always remember that. Remember, the swing analysis is 2 boxes. That swing info that's showing your timing is super, super important. And thank you, Gil, for explaining that in very great detail.